So the weekend has passed, and I'm sure you have gone and taken in SmackDown. And of course, within about 8 seconds of that show finishing, everybody had some fantasy booking to do. As I've told you before, this is good. One of the worst things about wrestling in 2024 is you do come up with some crazy idea, and there's always somebody on the internet to go, oh, you're such a flibbing nerd. Even though we're all flubbing nerds, that is entirely the point. But yes, The Rock came out. He was basically a heel from 1999 wearing one of his dirty shirts, but it was like cut off now, and he wears a vest. He looked absolutely massive, and the whole bloodline were like, oh, Rock, we're so happy to have you in our group. Whereas Paul Heyman was a bit like, wait a minute, I think something is afoot. As far as I'm concerned, all of this is wonderfully obvious. Now, obviously, when something is wonderfully obvious, just said the word obvious 3 times, it can go in 2 directions. 1, it's going to be the thing you expect, or 2, it's actually a red herring. And this is why I don't think WWE can lose here. Because they take path 1, it's going to be super duper fun. Take path 2, it's also going to be super duper fun. Now, today, we are going to walk down path 1 because I totally believe that WWE is just keeping things nice and simple, which is what you should do. And yes, ultimately, what we're going to find out at WrestleMania 40 is that the big chat that Cody Rhodes and The Rock did have when they had that weird segment on SmackDown was that they have decided to ruin Roman Reigns' entire life, which to be fair is what Cody Rhodes said. The Rock has decided to infiltrate the bloodline as some kind of a spy, and then we'll do this tag match Saturday and something will happen there, but it'll just put you a little seed of doubt in your mind, because when we get to Sunday, Jimmy Uso will try and attack, Solo Sikoa will try and attack, and The Rock will be there with Seth Rollins and the rest of the Cody Rhodes Avengers to go, ha ha, you ain't doing nothing. Finally, that Cody, he's finishing his story. Now, we'd already talked about that before SmackDown had aired, because it just seemed like the right thing to do. But I really appreciate the fact, and again, I too now just making stuff up, but it kind of does feel like we're going to do this. I really do appreciate the fact that WWE has decided, okay, we're going to go down this pathway, as we've already discussed, and we're going to just drop in this mini Easter eggs so everybody can talk about it online. I mean, they've done that a lot since Triple H has been back. I mean, remember with Bray Wyatt and the QR codes, that was really fun. And I think that's what the idea is too. So of course, The Rock held up his bloodline hand, whatever we call it, finger, but he was doing an L. Does that mean loser? I mean, he could have just made a mistake, you don't know. But also, once again, when he was pointing, a lot of this stuff has to do with hand gestures, and he was saying, Cody, you're a loser, and I'm going to make sure you lose at WrestleMania. I mean, he didn't say it that directly, but there was this idea that he was actually pointing at Roman Reigns because, of course, he's going to screw him over. And to be honest with you, that's what we should do. WrestleMania has always been designed to make you leave with a warm, fuzzy feeling in your tum-tum. So if you can come up with something that you should, because look at all the other doors it opens up for as well. Having Cody Rhodes endorsed by The Rock at the end of WrestleMania 40 is brilliant for everyone. So many people are going to see that image because The Rock is a massive star and he brings more eyes to the product. As I'm recording this, the SmackDown rating isn't out, but I bet it's through the roof. 2, it also coronates Cody Rhodes as your new John Cena, or as your new The Rock, or as your new face of the company. I mean, we've seen those kind of shots before. But 3, it also means we can do the long game, which everyone keeps talking about, which is The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Maybe you can do the SummerSlam, maybe you do it in Saudi Arabia, maybe you do it at WrestleMania 41. Like, I heard a terrific conversation today on Wrestling Observer Radio, where somebody asked the question, due to how companies works and the laws in place, does The Rock actually have to have his last match in Saudi Arabia? He's a board member, stay with me here, and as a board member, his movements have to be in line with what the shareholders want, and because he'd make more money by doing his last match in Saudi Arabia, maybe he has to do that. Now, I'm pretty sure you don't have to do that because he's The Rock, and he can do whatever you want, but I would massively push for this at SummerSlam. Again, I don't want to repeat stuff that I say on every single video, but WWE is so keen to make SummerSlam as big as WrestleMania. The only way to do that is to put mega matches on it, and everything The Rock said is true. This is the biggest match WWE could do right now. Like, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns is the most sensible one, and Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns is the one they should be doing because we've invested so much time in it. But in terms of box office and spectacle, obviously The Rock and Roman Reigns is bigger just because he's The Rock, he's a Hollywood movie star. I also think you'd run the risk if you do leave it to WrestleMania 41. Like, what if all of a sudden The Rock just offered a, I don't know, Martin Scorsese film or something like that? He may have to turn around and say, listen guys, I can't turn this down, whereas SummerSlam is only a few months away and you can probably just plan a little bit better. But if we are going to have the next 6 weeks of just putting in these little teases and these little Easter eggs and this sort of trail of breadcrumbs where it's painfully obvious that The Rock is going to turn on Roman Reigns in the bloodline, and the only person that doesn't see it is Roman, that's awesome. He's a heel. He's meant to be a moron, and you're meant to be able to laugh at him. And also, don't forget, he's got all these people around him that can, per the narrative, be smarter than him. So, of course, you would start with Paul Heyman. He's always going to be the most conniving because he's a conniving person. Then Solo can be like, man, something smells fishy here. And then finally, Smiley Jimmy can stop smiling and be like, yeah, Roman, I think you should listen to these guys. He's going to be a problem. But because Roman Reigns is so arrogant, he's like, no, man, bloodline, family, he's not going to do that to me. Unlike that that damn Jey Uso, and then I still think at WrestleMania 40, to stop whoever is coming in for the Bloodline, put The Rock there, put Sami Zayn there, put Kevin Owens there, put Seth Rollins there, right? Everybody that Roman Reigns has screwed over, and then we get to Monday Night Raw the next day. Not only do you have a cool story to drag people in to see what are we going to do with Cody next, but it will also just wrap everything up in a nice little bow, and then we can do whatever we want. I would say that Roman Reigns could go away for a while, he can come back however he's going to come back, and if his first program is against The Rock, who even needs the championships? I mean, that was always the big talking point for this, and something else I'm totally on board with. You do not need to have The Rock versus Roman Reigns for the world title, because it's The Rock and Roman Reigns. And also, if the championship isn't on the line, I know from me personally, I'm going to be like, well, who actually wins this? Because while I'm sure The Rock would love to be the champion again, that just wouldn't be the best idea for somebody that can't be on the show for a while. That's the problem with Roman at the moment. That's a different video for a different day. So I think it's definitely the right thing to do. I think it'll make WWE more fun, and it will make it feel, to continue on the Marvel references, like we're moving into a new phase. Now, I think Roman Reigns has been terrific. I think he's been brilliant. I think he has been a super duper whooper star, and he has increased business numbers and metrics, whether you like it or not, but everything needs to move and everything needs to be in a state of flux. And again, I think WWE did a house show over the weekend. They had like almost 10,000 people there, or like 9,400 or something like that. And who is on top of all that? It's Cody Rhodes. It's time to put a crown on this guy's head and see what we can do. Maybe it doesn't work. I mean, it is going to work, but let's just say, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It doesn't work. That doesn't mean that you don't try. Not trying with Cody right now would be the dumbest thing ever, so that's what we should do. The real question is, what show does he go on? Because you'd assume he'd move to SmackDown. It kind of feels to me like WWE is trying to stack up Raw at the moment, given that it ties into the Netflix deal, but I don't know. And also, it'll make post-WrestleMania really exciting, because I imagine that Seth Rollins will be okay, and don't forget, he's injured too. Who the hell is he going to take on? Does he even leave WrestleMania as champion, or does it go to Drew McIntyre? And who is Cody Rhodes' first opponent? Because I'm doing this before the February 19th Raw, and all of a sudden Chad Gable has been booked in a match with Ivar. Now again, you can go way back 6 months ago. That's kind of where his run around the IC title either started or finished, depending on how you want to look at it. Now I'm starting to think, given that we're doing the Jey Uso match tonight, that that's not going to be the WrestleMania match, so we will do Jimmy versus Jey, which means someone needs to beat Gunther, and maybe it is going to be Chad Gable. So if Gunther does lose his championship at WrestleMania, does he go on to be Cody Rhodes' first challenger, or at least maybe a challenger leading into SummerSlam? And people always go, oh, Simon, you can't lose the Intercontinental Championship and go after the World one. Have you seen Gunther? Like, he could lose in 3 seconds. He shouldn't, but smack bang in the middle of the ring, and he could come out, cut a promo, and be all intimidating, and everybody would buy him again. And look, once again, I'm just doing all the other things I've said on other videos. Gunther versus Cody early on is so fascinating, because you could have Cody lose, and people fall out of their shoes when you say that. Oh, God, have Cody lose. Of course you have. Seth Rollins had the championship for like 6 to 8 months, whatever it is. Roman Reigns had the championship for 9,000 days. Cody is so over, you could give him a short title reign, he loses to Gunther. Gunther is so over, he can have a short title reign, and it goes back to Cody, and then you settle things down a much, because then you reteach your audience, you better watch Raw, you better watch SmackDown, you better watch a pay-per-view premium live event, because you just never know. And if you need the perfect evidence as to why that can work, go look at The Rock's title reigns, or even better still, go look at Stone Cold Steve Austin's title reign. Sometimes he would not held the belt for that long at all, mostly because The Undertaker and or Kane would beat him, but because he was so over, and because people were just so desperate for him to win it back, it worked, and you could probably make the argument that it stabilized him as a babyface even more, and it will be the same for Cody. That's what he's so good at. He's so good at getting you to emotionally invest. When you emotionally invest, you can do this. It doesn't mean you can do it all the time. I don't want attitude era nonsense where you just go ping, 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 and we hot potato all the championships around. And I do like the fact that WWE went the other way to tell you, no, if you are a champion, we should respect it, and we've also updated some of the records. We've done that now. We've set one precedent. Now let's try and set another one and kind of balance it out a little bit, and I think Cody is that guy. You know, what you do with the World Heavyweight Championship, I don't know. In many ways, I think that's more, not interesting, but it begs more of a question, because I'm convinced that Cody Rhodes is going to beat Roman Reigns. I think I figured out the story. I could be completely wrong. With Seth, Drew could beat him. Sami Zayn could beat him. You could do a random audible and somebody else that I'm not even thinking about could beat him. Does it? Again, I don't know if on that Raw after Mania, Seth Rollins is still the champion, but I'm very, very excited to figure it out, especially because all of these guys that we've mentioned may be working tour nights at WrestleMania. And in fact, I'm convinced they are. There's no way we're not going to do The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. Where else do you figure in The Rock on WrestleMania? He's made it very clear he's doing WrestleMania. He's not doing the Elimination Chamber. He may do another show after Mania, but his first one back is definitely going to be in early April. So that one, I think we should bank off, and then we kind of have to make the decision. Or does he screw Roman over there? Or is it one of those, I've screwed you over by accident? Or do they win? I mean, does The Rock want to win? I have absolutely no idea, because it seems kind of funny to me that if they lose and Roman takes the pin, and then he takes the pin on Sunday, does that take away from the pin that he does on Sunday? That is something definitely to talk about in the comments. And while you're down there, please subscribe. So I think it's fun. I think it's really entertaining, and that's what I need for WrestleMania 40. And as I said on my SmackDown Ups and Downs over on What Culture, card up right now, I understand there's more plot holes in this than a motorway in the United Kingdom, but sometimes if I'm enjoying myself, I'll laugh at a plot hole. And that's not exclusive to wrestling. I have watched shows on television that I've loved. I watched one the other day. Now I can't remember what it's called. It was awesome. And I had a great time watching the 8 episodes. If I sat down there and wrote it out, I was like, well, that guy said there didn't make any sense. It was like a thriller with twists and turns. And with that woman went to the shop, she shouldn't have done that because she should have been here. You can say that it's bad writing, but ultimately, why do I watch something that's meant to be entertaining to be entertained? So if you achieve that, even if it is nonsense, well, you've done something right, which is another reason I want to go see Madam Web. Everyone has said it's the worst movie ever. You said that to me, I'm in. Goofy wrestling and goofy movies for life. Now, of course, already mentioned, please do go down into those comments and let me know, what do you think is going to happen at WrestleMania 40? Is this as obvious as I'm making out? Was it a light bulb moment for you? Or do you think it's absolutely trash? Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click that notification bell, notification crew, and click the video on the screen. It's me talking about The Rock, because we're all talking about The Rock, which is the point. Also, as always, grillermind.com/Simon. Use code Simon, get 10% off. I did a big order from there today, so I'm very, very excited. I'm getting some pre-workout, and I'm getting some multivitamins and some other stuff, and I implore you to do the same. So I do think they will help you on your fitness journey. Patreon.com/Simon316, Simon316 on social media, Simon J. Miller on TikTok, and we finally started doing those videos again today. Thank you for everyone who watched me blind ranking wrestlers. It was a terrible list, but I did my best. Simon Miller on TikTok if you want some kind of a shout out, and it's pro wrestling tees and Samson Athletics. Please do buy one of my t-shirts. It always makes me smile when I get those notification emails. But like I say, we're in mid-February. WrestleMania is like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks away. Let's just enjoy the ride, man, because it comes but once a year. It's going to be WrestleMania 50 soon. I don't want to think about that. Goodbye.